Do you like the Oakland A's? Are you a fan of the Golden Knights? Do you love the Los Angeles Chargers? Well then, my friend, you're in the right place. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show with your host, Jake the Snake Silva, brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network.
Bolt up, Bolt Gang. What is going on? It's your boy Jake the Snake Silva here from the Snake Sports Talk Show on the Spotlight Sports Network, coming to you live with another live uploaded video here, and this is a special one. It's definitely a tribute video here for you guys. If you guys haven't done so already and it's your first time, I would highly recommend to you guys liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell button, and also following all of our social media platforms to keep you up to date with everything live stream play-by-plays, highlights, news talks, and so much more for your Los Angeles Chargers. Well, guys, as you know, today is a very, very special day. It has been the announcement that quarterback Phillip Rivers has officially announced the ending of his NFL career and has begun retirement. Phillip Rivers came into this league in 2004 as one of the swapping draft picks between the Giants and the Chargers at the time. And the draft class was loaded with a bunch of different quarterbacks in the draft, which included Eli Manning and Big Ben. Phillip Rivers was an absolute competitor, and he was absolutely a guy that would be in your face, talking smack, and was a guy that was just fierce. Now, it's unfortunate because a lot of us as Charger fans, including myself, I've been a fan since I was 7 years old, and I've absolutely loved this team since day one. But watching Phillip Rivers and the type of person that he was, and the competitor, and how much that he loved the game of football is what all of us always kept dear in our hearts as fans, as we loved watching him. 2006 was the time that after Drew Brees was traded to the New Orleans Saints, that was when Phillip Rivers ended up getting the nod as the everyday starter. In 2006, under Marty Schottenheimer, the team ended up going 14-2. And what was very impressive about Phillip Rivers' starting stats is he started all 16 games, ended up completing 284 of his passes with a completion percentage of 61.7, threw for 3,300 yards, and also had 22 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions. This team was unbelievable in 2006, and this was a team that went all the way to 14-2, which had a lot of big-time names: Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Turner, Darren Sproles, Vincent Jackson, Eric Parker, so many big-time Charger players. And it was unfortunate that they came up short after losing the playoff game against the New England Patriots due to a missed field goal from Nate Kading. It was one of the most heartbreaking moments of all for us Charger fans, and something that we'll always remember dearly. In 2007, it didn't stop there. After the firing of Marty Schottenheimer at 14-2 and coming in and bringing in Norv Turner, who was fresh from the Oakland Raiders, the team ended up making the playoffs again. And Phillip Rivers completed 277 of his passes with a completion percentage of 60, ended up throwing for 3,100 yards, 21 touchdowns, 15 picks. But this team made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. And we felt like, as Charger fans, this is the day. This is the time. We finally are going to have one more chance and a trip to get to the Super Bowl. With all of the talent that was stacked around, offensively and defensively, we felt like we had a shot. But once again, we had to face against our old foes, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. In that game of the AFC Championship game that all of us will remember forever is when Phillip Rivers in that game ended up playing with a torn ACL in the middle of the game. And even so, due to the injury, Phillip never gave up. Phil always continued to strive, fight on, and continued to be competitive regardless of the injury. And it showed each and every one of us football fans in general what it takes to really be a class act, but even at the same time, putting the team on your shoulders. It was all about a team effort from there. And Phil, who had great memories with the Chargers all throughout, has always been a class character in this organization and has always been shown that his competitiveness is what was striving for excellence. All through and through, Phillip Rivers had so many really good competitive seasons, and then it wasn't until the move from San Diego to Los Angeles where things kind of changed up and there was a different future ahead. Now, of course, Phil didn't even like the initial move where they moved from San Diego to Los Angeles. Of course, everybody, who doesn't want to party up in San Diego? Who doesn't want to end up watching the Chargers in Qualcomm Stadium, near the beach, and so much more? So it was unfortunate that San Diego County could not come to an agreement with the Chargers organization and with Dean Spanos. So the Spanos family had to move them to Los Angeles. Initially, in 2017, things still seemed competitive, but was not clicking all the way through. That was when we had the emergence of Keenan Allen as a wide receiver. We had the emergence of Joey Bosa as a big-time rusher, and so much more. In 2018, it felt like it was a revival year for Phillip Rivers and for the Chargers. They started to get competitive left and right, and that wasn't until then. 2017 was after the Mike McCoy years and after the Norv Turner years. In comes Anthony Lynn. And Anthony Lynn, in his first year, got the Chargers to be 9-7, but fell short to the playoffs from the Buffalo Bills and with a couple of teams as well. But in 2018 was a massive surge for the Chargers moving forward. The defense had ended up getting better. It was third in all of the league. The offense was very efficient with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and so much more. And of course, it was the rookie year of Derwin James that really helped out this Chargers defense. And Phil very much had great moments with the Chargers. My favorite moment was when the Chargers played the Kansas City Chiefs the second time in Arrowhead after losing the first week. And when they came into Arrowhead, it was a competitive game on a Thursday night primetime game. And all through and through, the Chargers continued to be competitive. Phil kept doing his thing. And it got all the way to the end where it was a close enough game. Chargers were trailing. And Phillip Rivers, and in his moments, that was where he just took the football and said, let's get downfield and let's win this damn thing. And Phillip Rivers kept throwing the football, marching the offense downfield, and eventually got to the point where the Chargers scored the touchdown. And the iconic icing to the cake was not only did they have to score the touchdown, but Anthony Lynn was gutsy enough to go for two. And that was where it sealed the deal, and the Chargers ended up winning the ball game with Phillip Rivers throwing the 2-point conversion to Mike Williams. After all of that, 2019 was a crushing blow for Phillip Rivers at the end of his career, as things did not end up clicking well. He ended up having 23 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in 2019, completed 66% of his throws, and completing 390 passes. And the team ended up going 5-11. It was a hard roadblock, and a lot of Charger fans were kind of upset and disappointed with the outcome, but knew that maybe this was going to be the time. And after that year, Charger fans were kind of fed, and it was time to start looking into a bright future. So instead, Phillip Rivers took all of his good graces and everything that he left behind in the organization and moved on. And that wasn't until this past year of 2020 where Phillip Rivers agreed to a 1-year, $25 million contract by the Indianapolis Colts. It was heartwarming for a lot of us because at least Phillip Rivers would have the opportunity to get into the playoffs again and maybe trying it again. But since then, that was when the Chargers ended up drafting Justin Herbert as their future quarterback, and the future became bright for the Chargers in the end. Now, Phillip Rivers, of course, made it into the playoffs for the Indianapolis Colts on a very competitive season of their own, where they had one of the best defenses, and of course, the offense was clicking at the right time. And then they make it into the playoffs. They face off against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who were red hot in coming into the playoffs, and once again got cut short at a 27-24 victory for the Buffalo Bills. The Colts got knocked out of the playoffs, and at that point, Phillip Rivers really had to think back on what's next to come. And Phil, who had been desperate to getting into the Super Bowl and playing in it, it's one of the most heartbreaking stories that you'll ever hear from a longtime quarterback who all he wants is the opportunity and the chance to ball out and play in the Super Bowl. And once again, comes up short. Now, on Phillip Rivers, what we found out today, he looked back at this, reviewed it, and of course, with his entire family and with all of his kids, Phillip Rivers made the conscious decision to put the cleats up and announced retirement from the NFL. Now, Phillip Rivers in his career, all through and through, he had completed 5,277 passes in his career, along with a 64.9 completion percentage, 63,440 passing yards, which is fifth all-time on the list. And of course, he had 421 touchdowns, over 209 picks. A lot of us can really say about what Phillip Rivers really is. Well, I could tell you what he is. I don't think personally, in my opinion, I think being a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he is for sure a Hall of Famer in my opinion. If you think about the Chargers' history, of course, they had to deal with Dan Fouts, who was one of the best quarterbacks in the organization that led to Drew Brees, that led to Phillip Rivers, and possibly end up leading to a future with Justin Herbert. And for Phillip Rivers not having a Super Bowl, this was kind of the thing that Charger fans are always used to. And Dan Fouts was a hell of a quarterback himself in those years where the Chargers were competitive under Don Coryell and Charlie Joyner and so much more. And they still couldn't make it to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was heartbreaking. And Dan Fouts was a hell of a quarterback. This is kind of the same story with Phillip Rivers. Very competitive, a class act, and was a guy that, no matter the smack talking, he loved his competitiveness on the field. He knew exactly what to do in certain moments, but it was always that one moment where he couldn't end up getting further to the Super Bowl. And now he has to live with that for the rest of his career. And there are a bunch of quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame who don't even have a Super Bowl, but yet have been competitive. And if you think about it, I had a conversation with a real good colleague of mine, and I explained saying that I think Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees are a lot alike than you think as Charger fans, because Drew goes to New Orleans, very statistically competitive, and was a big-time statistical quarterback. But the only difference between the two is Drew was able to get a Super Bowl. He got the support. He got the help. Not to mention, too, he has a strong head coach in Sean Payton, and that was the difference maker on both the quarterbacks' careers. If Phillip Rivers, after having 5 coaches in his tenure, one of them being Marty Schottenheimer, who went 14-2, maybe things would have changed, and maybe the Chargers would have given him the support, would have given him so much more to where the Chargers could finally make it to the Super Bowl and maybe potentially win it. But of course, you don't always get what you ask for, and sometimes destinies, they shape for themselves. And it's unfortunate for Phillip Rivers, but still, I think he was one of the most successful statistical quarterbacks who just knew what to do in certain situations, was very competitive through and through, and it was a guy that would not quit. And I'm very happy for Phillip Rivers, and I hope for a very, very blessed retirement for him and for him and his family, as well as he goes on and he moves on. And his next career journey is being a high school head coach in Alabama. And being back down south, Phillip Rivers, very familiar with the area, of course, going to NC State years ago in his college days. So it's great, great news for Phillip Rivers, and I absolutely hope the best of success for him in the near future. We thank you so much, Phillip Rivers. You were definitely a guy that was competitive on and off the field, big time smack talker, but all in all, a class act. And we appreciate everything that you have done for the Chargers organization. And again, we apologize that we couldn't get it further to the Super Bowl. And it's unfortunate, but we thank you and we hope the best in your retirement. We thank you guys so much for watching this uploaded video. As of course, we tribute and we thank Phillip Rivers for his long-time tenured career in the NFL and hope for a best retirement. Like I said before, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and follow me here on social medias for everything Chargers live stream play-by-plays, highlights, news talks, and so much more here on the Snake Sports Talk Show and on the Spotlight Sports Network. Take care, you guys. Always remember to bolt up.